Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the 299th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy audio legends over at Audio Technica. Go get yourself some of the best headphones, microphones, gaming headsets, and everything else in between over at audio-technica.com ASAP. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan 8-Bit. And joining me today, my Australian-based podcast, Ride or Die. You can find him on them socials at Jono himself. We're obviously talking about Australia's Jono Pech. Jono, how the hell are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for the call up. It's always a pleasure to jump on THG. I don't know. I didn't ask what was Ali's preoccupation, but hopefully she's feeling all right.
She's feeling fine. She's just very busy strategizing and game planning for the big 300th episode of THG. She's indisposed at the moment. So I thought, we've always got an eternal seat warm for yourself here. So I thought, we'll just swap one superstar out with another. And here we are recording on a Sunday night instead of a Saturday morning. But it also allowed us to unpack some of the showcases and events that have been going on over the weekend. So I think it all worked out well.
Yeah. I can't match her sass, but I do have some thoughts to share about these showcases, so let's do it.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, she is in a league of her own when it comes to the giving and receiving of sass. So Miss Hart will be back in your ear holes in the coming week or weeks once we get episode 300 put to bed. We're very excited for that one, but I guess we should start with what we always do here on THG and talk about what we've been up to. Now, JP, as you are the guest co-host this evening, I want to know what you've been doing this week. Tell me about the things you've been playing, anything you've watched, anything you've even eaten of note. Share it with us here and now.
Well, I did demolish 1.2 kilos of pork ribs for dinner tonight.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Slow cooked. Very nice. And I say 1.2 kilos, but we all know at least half of that is bone. So yeah. I'm not complete guts, but
it still sounds impressive. Bone or not, that's a good sized rack of ribbies, and I'm very envious right now.
But otherwise, the consumption includes, the last time I was on the show, dear listeners might recall, I just acquired an Xbox, so I was working my way through the backlog of Xbox exclusives that I've missed over the years, and that's going pretty well. So since then, I've dabbled through the Halos and the now I'm onto the Gears of Warses. Not that I've done I got up to Halo 4, finished Halo 4, so I'm out of the Master Chief Collection now. And
sure.
I thought I'll try something different, so I started Gears of War Ultimate, which I finished at the start of the week. And now I'm on to Gears of War 2, which I'm almost finished as well. So yeah, I'm making my way through. But other than that, Immortality was the one that I spent most of last weekend playing. It took me 3 or 4 nights actually, because there's a lot in there. And I'm actually still not done, because I know, we're doing our spoiler cast, which we'll talk about a bit later probably. And I just wanted to find as many of these extra scenes as possible. To put the full story together, because I'm at 90% of each of the 3 films in there, and I just know there's probably some nugget hidden in there that's going to change my perspective on everything, and it's hard to find when you think you've tapped everything. So yeah, glad that you guys seem to have enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah, I'm a little bit similarly stressed for our Immortality spoiler cast tomorrow night because, I think there's 202 if I remember right. I could be off by a couple, but I'm pretty sure there's 202 little scenes that you can navigate and detective work your way through to see what happened to Marissa. But I do not have all of those yet too. So I'm very fearful / envious when we do record tomorrow, yourself, myself, and Wilco from the Locked On Lads podcast, to see if there's some stones that I left unturned that you guys lifted up and going to be throwing some cool little nuggets and little eye-opening scenarios that I completely overlooked. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The game is great. I've gotten the ending as well, but I've not got all the 202 scenes. I reckon I'm probably 80-ish% or so. So maybe I need to put a few more hours in between now and recording time to see if I can get full closure on this film trilogy saga. But it's really great. It's so unlike anything I've played this year, and I'm looking forward to diving deep with you, Pear, tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'll be good. As far as what I've been watching, I've been working through Banshee. Did you ever check that series out?
I do like me a bit of Banshee. That's Liev Schreiber is the lead, right?
No, that's not right. It's
Or am I thinking? What am I thinking?
It's actually Anthony Starr, Homelander.
Oh, shit! What am I thinking
of?
of? What's the one with Liev Schreiber in it that I'm thinking of?
I don't know. What is it?
I'll look it up. Well, you tell me about what you've been thinking about Banshee.
Banshee's great. It's a series that I'd heard about over the years, but never had an opportunity to check it out. But it finished in 2016, so it's cool to see. This guy is obviously known as Homelander now in our community because The Boys is such a huge series. So to go back and see where did this Kiwi come from, just out of nowhere, and even on this show, he's like such a force. It's about a convict who is released from prison and takes the identity of a small town sheriff. So basically steals that sheriff's identity and runs this little town with all of its crime, and it's kind of like Blue Heelers, where like every possible crime happens in this tiny town, and he's not corrupt, but because he's a criminal, he's got no qualms about like breaking the law to enforce the law. He doesn't play by the book, Brendan. And yeah, it's a really intense, interesting show that you can check out on Binge over here. It was a Cinemax product, which is probably why a lot of people never checked it out when it originally released.
Yeah, I got it mixed up. I was thinking of Ray Donovan was what I was thinking of, the one that Liev Schreiber plays in, and it's
okay.
I think it's similar beats and similar themes. So yeah, that's where my confusion came from. I've had Banshee on the radar for a long time because I know a few other friends have talked very highly of it over the years. Like it started in 2013, I think, and
yes,
from what I can see here, it ran for a few seasons, and they did a 2-part television film, Banshee Origins, which is also of interest. So I need to circle back because Anthony Starr is a hell of an actor, making his screen debut way back when in Xena Warrior Princess of all things. So shout out to every good Kiwi cutting their teeth on that jaunt there with Lucy Lawless and co. But yeah, I need to check out Banshee. I haven't watched a single scene of it, but Ray Donovan, I really appreciated and just completely mixed it up.
I'll have to add that to the list, Ray Donovan. But yeah, Banshee. And then the other series I've been watching is Alone. Do you know this reality show? I'm not a big reality guy, but
this one's hooked you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's so good. I swear I was listening to I listen to a lot of podcasts, and 2 podcasts that I listened to mentioned this show in the same week. One was the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast, and one was No Dunks. Skeety mentioned it, and I was like, what are the chances of that? Because it's not like it's a current thing. Like, it's been going for 9 seasons. Like, it's current, but it's not like this brand new thing that everyone's talking about. So I checked it out, and it is amazing.
So give listeners the synopses, spoiler free, for Alone, just so they can understand what it's about.
So if you've ever watched Bear Grylls, the pitch is basically 10 Bear Grylls go out into really harsh territory by themselves, separated, no cameraman, no producer and director, no medic or anything, and they have to survive for as long as possible. And the winner gets, like, the last man standing or woman standing gets $500,000 US, and they're cast out into like Vancouver Island and the Patagonia, like these really difficult places to live where there's very limited resources. There's hardly any food. In the case of like Canada, there's bears and, you know, wolves and all kinds of things. So, yeah, they get to tap out if they want to go home. And it's pretty intense watching them learn like the best way to survive for that area, build their little habitats, boil their water to like clean it, and cook their little fish that they're catching in the river, or eating kelp just to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly kind of, you know, it's called alone, and slowly they seem to just go crazy from the isolation and, you know, missing their families. And, you know, they're all there because they want to win this money for whatever reason. A lot of them have like toddlers or babies or pregnant wives back at home. So it is a real intense kind of emotional ride going along with these people as they do what they can to get by in the wilderness. And I'm not like a reality TV fiend or anything, so, you know, I never really got into Survivor. Maybe watched like a season of Big Brother 20 years ago, but this has its hooks in me and can't recommend it enough.
Have you started from the start, like the first season, or have you just sort of, because it doesn't really matter so much?
Well, we watched season 1, and then, like you say, it doesn't matter. So we skipped to season 3 because that was when they moved to a new location. I thought I will mix it up. I don't want to see the same environment if I'm not necessarily going to watch every season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as I go through, I will probably eventually, because I'm watching it with Hannah, probably eventually go back and watch every season. And there's even spin-offs where there's crazy stuff like they get sent somewhere with a carcass of an animal and that's all they have to survive. Instead of, like, usually they get to take along 10 objects, whether it's like, you know, a fire lighter, an axe, a tarp to build with their habitat. But on this one, it's like, here's a dead moose. Enjoy.
Yeah, good luck out there, Mr. or Mrs.
I'm guessing they have to, you know, use its hide to make their home and use its bones to make their weapons and bow and arrow or whatever the heck it is. So, yeah, that sounds next level.
It does. It sounds nuts. Like, I've seen like parts of episodes here and there over the years. I think it's like it's been broadcast on
the
maybe
History
SBS
Channel originally, but yeah.
And even like I saw back when, like before shifting to, you know, binge, but having Foxtel back in the day, I'd channel surf and it'd pop up on whatever station it was getting broadcast on there. So yeah, I saw some of the hardships and just the general madness and insanity that these people are dealing with, and I certainly don't envy them, that's for sure. But I guess when there's $500,000 on the line, you could try just about anything. But yeah, I'll have to go back and give it a look because it's been a good long time since I've enjoyed it, and now we've got 3 different podcasts within the span of a few weeks talking about it. So maybe you're onto something there, JP.
That's it. And there's no like Hunger Games style announcement when someone's eliminated, so they really have no idea if they're like a day away from winning or if there's like still 6 people left or whatever it might be. It's good stuff.
God, it'd get you so paranoid and so on edge. Like I don't know if I can handle that kind of scenario, but it's good to watch from the couch with a snack, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but,
it makes you appreciate your whatever diet you might be going through. It's not as bad as having to eat like seaweed for 3 weeks.
Yeah, not at all.
Fish.
Not at all. But yeah, as far as things I've been doing this week, like been sinking my teeth into a game that's just dropped. It's officially in early access at the moment, but I've been playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, Jono. It is available on Game Pass, and it's also on Switch and PlayStation and PC and every platform just about. Put out by Gameloft. And it's one of these sort of sim builders where you are transported into, I guess, the broader Disney universe and tasked with rebuilding this world because something that's happened in Dreamlight Valley, which is known as the Forgetting, has occurred. So all these very, very horrific looking night thorns are sort of scattering around this nice fairy tale like environment. It's not only making the world feel very dread inducing and somber and bleak, but it's also got some kind of magical quality that are making the characters sort of forget who they are and things they've done. And the more that these things take hold, characters start to sort of fade away from reality almost. So you're running around not only trying to rebuild Dreamlight Valley and, you know, buying towns, buying houses and properties and running around on quests and things like that, but also trying to stop the dreaded forgetting from, ruining Disney as we know it. So picture something like Stardew Valley, picture something like Animal Crossing, but in the Disney universe. So you're meeting all of these larger-than-life characters in this world. And even though it's early access and it is buggy, I did have a couple of random quest glitch or the game freeze and I have to reload. So, you know, they did preface it with the early access, so I can't get too mad. It's got so much polish for a little world builder or sim builder game. The character models are great. There is some voice dialogue in there, so you do get some of the lines that you know and love from the small and the big screen. And sort of going through these distinctive hub worlds to find these new characters, you know, like I've, you know, recruited Wall-E and I've recruited like characters from Moana to come into the Dreamlight Valley and characters from Ratatouille and Shrek and all this kind of stuff. Like there's just all of the characters you know and love.
Shrek's not Disney.
Sorry, not Shrek. I was thinking of Ursula. For some reason, from The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
They're both very large, repulsive creatures,
Yes,
I guess you could say.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's Sunday night, listeners.
Remember
I'm sorry.
Shrek showing up in Little Mermaid?
Yeah. It's but it's just great because there's so much to do in this game. Like it's a lot of monotonous tasks. Yes, don't get me wrong. Like there is farming and fishing, which, you know, I'm always horny for a good little bit of fishing. So the game itself, it starts and you bump into Mickey and you bump into Scrooge McDuck, and they're the two sort of foundation characters in this game you meet. Scrooge McDuck is playing the role of Tom Nook from Animal Crossing. He's the banker. He's the one that's always up you for the rent. Anything you want to do and upgrade, you've got to pay him exuberant amounts of money, which is very soul destroying because the grind to get that cash is very real. But he's there as the banker and the beating heart of the economy, and then Mickey's there as sort of guiding you along, as well as Merlin from The Sword and the Stone.
You'd think Scrooge would be bankrolling the whole thing. He's made of money.
You'd hope so, but nah, he is after you for every coin imaginable. It's like, oh yeah, I want to upgrade my inventory to be able to fit an extra 8 things. It's like, okay, the first one, I think it's 5,000. You want to do another line for your inventory? It's 20,000. And it's absurd. Like, it costs so much money, but I guess they want to sort of sink their claws into you and keep you around for this game to become full-fledged. And then the marketplace comes in where they're going to really get the money out of you for new skins, because when you start the game, the avatar that you control, you make them look however you like. So I've naturally tried to make this gentleman look as close as it can to myself. Even got some grey in the beard and the hair. I'm feeling very at peace with my Brendan avatar in Disney Dreamlight Valley. But from there, yeah, you're going around doing some farming, doing some fishing, fetching certain objects for quests. And the quest and the exploration in the game is actually really cool. Like going through certain distinctive hubs, going into those film universes, meeting characters from there, and then going on quests to either save characters in that world or running errands for them to maybe convince them to say, hey, come move to Dreamlight Valley. It's the place to be. Then you get them in and then the community grows and away you go from there. But JP, it's cute as heck. It's a bit of a grind, but in a good way. Yeah. And I've lost many hours to this game already over the weekend. It's absolutely scary how many hours I've put into this game.
I've seen a few people talking about it, mostly disappointed that it doesn't work so well, or you alluded to some of the bugs and stuff that maybe are frustrating to people that invest a lot of time. I have a few questions that I'm sure you'd be happy to answer. So it sounds fairly narrative driven. Is that like a long cutscene at the start and then off you go, or is it kind of sprinkled throughout? Sprinkled
throughout. So because all these characters you're meeting as well have lost all their memories or can't remember certain beats of the main story, you find things through the game, whether it be looking in people's dwellings or when you're digging treasure out of the ground, you might find certain memories, and it weaves in this giant broader tapestry as far as who created the forgetting, where did these Night Thorns come from, who is behind this horrific scenario. So you get constant little breadcrumbs, not only from discovering the game, but also those mainline characters or new characters you're meeting saying, oh yeah, I can actually remember this happened. And, it leads you to point B, and then you get to point B and find a new character. Then, oh, yep, I can verify that. Then we went here. And so you're sort of on a bit of a detective plot line as well at the same time.
Yeah, cool. And what's the early access indicate? Like, is it, like, why is it in early access? How's it going to change over the coming months?
I think because it's sort of a live game, so they've already said in future releases there's a Toy Story hub getting added to it, so they're going to constantly be just adding new portions to this game. From what I can understand from reading a couple of spoiler-free reviews, there is an ending, whether it be adequate or otherwise, in this current release, so you can sort of complete the mainline story, but then go back to then doing your daily chores, your fishing and your building and your house and room customization. You can get all the furniture to decorate all these places as much as you like. You can make Dreamlight Valley your own, but I think they've just sort of said that it's early access because this thing's going to live and evolve between now and the next couple of years.
Right. So are we talking free-to-play upon release, microtransactions?
None at the moment, but there is a store coming where you can then buy potentially, a fancier bomber jacket with a Mickey Mouse insignia on the back or something. But you get a lot of items in the game already. I think from what I could recall, there's 950 something different furniture-based items in the game. And then on top of that, there's all your different clothing aesthetics, your fashion choices. So there's a lot of customization and things to unearth through just general gameplay. But right now, there's no microtransactions available.
And do you think this is a game for kids or just for adults?
Both, but there is some complexities with some of the puzzles. Like there was some quest lines I was doing where there was riddles attached and you had to sort of plant certain types of seeds and find certain types of gemstones to open up certain doors. So it isn't just follow the breadcrumbs and you'll get to the end. There is some thinking and thought processes involved, and even like some of the cooking mechanics in there. There's certain recipes you need to unlock, but it won't tell you what or how. They'll just sort of give you very broad descriptors as far as to make, let's say, a banana pie, for example. You need to know certain things. You can't just go, oh, there's a banana, chuck it in and press the button. You got to sort of add real cooking mechanics to it to make it happen. So it could be a bit difficult for young kids.
Might be like a play with your parents kind of thing.
Yeah. Like if a kid can handle the current Pokemon games, like the sort of outside of Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, the sort of more fully loaded Pokemon games, they'd be able to play this, but there is a bit of grind and big person thinking required.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I've tried a bunch of these cozy type of games before that don't grab me, so I'm wondering if this could be the one, being full of IP that we all know and love, and the narrative side of it, I guess, is a bit stronger than some of the other ones. But interested to see, I guess, how it reviews and whether it gets fixed and that kind of thing.
Yeah, like from what I saw, IGN sort of rated it an 8 out of 10, and like it is fun.
How do you review something that's in early access?
Yeah, I know. But there is a score on their website for it. But I think because there is such a rich cast of characters from Disney's very deep portfolio of IP, there's so many cool little memories and moments and scenarios playing out that sort of it can offset some of those wrinkles. Like, as I said, there was a couple of little freezes or lags here or there, and I had to do like one hard reset yesterday and whatever else. But overall, I've probably put, I don't know, somewhere between 12 to 16 hours into this game so far, and I've had 2 hard crashes. So it's not 2 forced resets that I had to put on itself to reload. So it's painful, but not completely immersion breaking.
I wonder how deep the Disney, catalog will go with it. Like, they've obviously already done Disney and Pixar. Do they jump into Star Wars? Do they go down that kind of Kingdom Hearts path and get a bit crazy with it?
They might, and they could, and that could serve this game for many years, where they could just keep digging into broader franchise and just bringing them in. They might not be directly related to, Mickey Mouse and co, but yeah, those broader Disney DNA strands going out there. Let's land on LV-426 and hang out with some aliens and face huggers and stuff. Like let's go all kinds of crazy with it. But yeah, it's enjoyable so far, and it's cute as heck. Like the graphics and just the color palette, it's stunning. Like it's a very pretty game for a sim. Like it's, Animal Crossing's gorgeous, but this is sort of the next evolution, I think, of that. And just having these interactions with some of your favorite characters. Like I've just got Wally hanging out with me as my companion running quests with me now, and just the little interactions and mannerisms with some of these characters you're dealing with. It's just very touching and heartwarming, JP.
Sounds nice.
Yeah. Something else that's very nice. I've really been enjoying the first 3 episodes of The Rings of Power. Obviously, the new series on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, set, thousands of years before the whole Hobbit and Lord of the Rings fiasco. I don't want to go into spoilers, but it's probably just about the prettiest thing I think I've seen in I don't know how long. It is very, very impressive. Like, it is more impressive, I think, visually than something like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon at the moment. Like, the CGI and animation in Rings of Power runs laps around some of the same animation techniques that are getting used in House of the Dragon, and it's so pretty and it's so great, and I'm hyped as hell for more of this. It's one of my favorite things of the year so far.
That's awesome. I mean, it's been inescapable, the discourse around it, and I'm sick of it already.
Have you watched any of it yet?
No, I am like interested. I'm giving it like every bit of positivity. I'm expecting it to be fantastic. I think I'm going to land in the camp that's very happy with it. I'm not like a diehard Lord of the Rings fan. I love the trilogy like any fan of cinema and storytelling should. But I'm not someone that's like watched them every year since they came out or anything like that. This being what it is, and the budget, and Amazon, and it's just something that I'm looking forward to watching when I can kind of binge through it instead of week to week, just because there's other things that I'm trying to watch at the moment. She-Hulk's another one that I don't know if you did you
I've
talk
been
about
really
that last
like, we haven't spoken about it, I think, at all on THC, but I've been really enjoying She-Hulk. It's very different to the rest of the Marvel universe, but I'm all for it. I love this sort of syndicated, fourth wall breaking dramedy we got going on. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm digging it too. It's one of those things that if someone described it, you'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound great, but it just works. Like, it's really well written, I think. And is it Tatiana? Is that?
Yeah, Tatiana, who's playing Jen, aka She-Hulk. She's great in the role.
She's awesome. Yeah,
it's like I know it's a Marvel sitcom, but it's done so well. Like, it's not trying to be anything it's not. Like, it's very familiar with the tropes and the comedy and the delivery and the style that they're trying to sort of present. And I think they execute it really, really well.
And it's kind of refreshing for there not to be some, evil power that's at the heart of it from episode to episode that she has to overcome. And it's like you said, it's basically, it's a sitcom more than anything else. And I'm sure that they'll get there and there'll be some big showdown with the big bad eventually. But I like the formula, and I would like to see other characters get a crack at it, because there's so much fun to be had in that world. It doesn't always have to be about saving the universe.
Yeah, like this show could go for years, because so much of this is outside the primary MCU orbit. This could just be just a nice light-hearted palate cleanser that's releasing seasonally every year and weaving in nods from the big movies and the big shows and the big moments. But it's so great. And I think I'm sexually attracted to the She-Hulk, by the way. I've got a big crush on She-Hulk.
Are you like the guy in the last episode who not so interested in Jen, but...
No, I'm interested in them both. But I don't know, there's just something about She-Hulk where she's got that big long flowing hair and that green skin. I don't know. Maybe I've just got green skin on the brain. I mentioned Shrek earlier, now She-Hulk, but
is it
it's
one of
so
those?
great.
Is it one of those Resident Evil Village type scenarios with
Maybe it is. She is the modern day Lady Dimitrescu, the more accessible Lady Dimitrescu. She's not going to rip my throat out. She'll just do other things to my throat, maybe. But
getting back to Rings of Power, yes, I'm excited to watch it. I think it's ridiculous, all the discourse about race and all that kind of thing. So I just think if it's good, it's good. It doesn't matter.
It's really good, JP,
ethnicity
and
of
it
the
is just
characters.
it is stunning and impressive in every sense of the word. Like, the acting is great. Not only the mixing of real life shooting locations, but then when they are using green screen and CGI, it's just miles above everything else. And then the score, just those big fantasy scores just hit differently. Like the music and the sound effects, it's just can't wait for more of it.
Does it feel like Peter Jackson's world, or does it feel like a different thing?
It feels more Peter, like this feels closer, in my opinion, to the Fellowship trilogy than the Hobbit films.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And yeah, you need to check it out because it's fantastic. But shout out to also Madison from She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Those back and forths with her and Wongers, as she calls him, I was in hysterics for that. But
that was hilarious.
Let's keep moving forward. Quick bit of housekeeping. Obviously, if you wanted to support us monetarily, you can do so over at ko-fi.com/we are8bit, or you can get our merchandise on your body over at shop8bit.net. We're talking hats, tees, hoodies, and everything else in between. Also, we've got a couple of giveaways we're running in parallel at the moment. The first one, all you got to do is send us a screenshot of your rating or review of The Hungry Gamers or any of the other 8-Bit podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever podcast player or device you are getting your content from. On the socials, DM us at we're8bit. Send it to us on the Discord as well, or email hello@8bit.net to go in the running for that one. And the other one, you'll see some details over on them socials at we're8bit, because we are giving away a limited edition ATH M50X BT2 set of wireless Bluetooth headphones. These are the limited edition Deep Sea blue shade that AT have literally just rolled out this past week. They are so sexy, JP.
Mm-hmm.
So check out the socials for ways to enter to go into the draw for that one. We'll announce the winner at the end of September. But those, Deep Sea ATH M50X BT2s are a thing of beauty. But speaking of beauty, let's jump into this.
This week's news headlines.
And the first little quick hitter, beauty could be in the eye of the beholder, this one, if you can actually see what is on these bits of peripheral. A new collection of PlayStation 5 accessories known as the Grey Camouflage Collection will soon be hitting the market, which Sony says will, in quotes, bring a fresh, unique aesthetic into play. The collection consists of the DualSense controller, the Pulse 3D wireless headset, and console covers for the PlayStation 5. These items are all infused with unique patterns of the iconic PlayStation shapes, but you'll have to look quite closely to see them. Those looking to pre-order these items will be able to do so from the 15th of September, so this coming week. We've got the Pulse 3D wireless headset coming out TBC in Q4 of 2022, and then we've also got the PlayStation covers and the DualSense controller making their way to your hands, if you'd like, in October. JP, Are you in on this? Are you a camouflage type of guy? Did these move the needle for you, or are you just going to walk on by?
I'm not a camouflage guy, but I wouldn't say that I'm straight up against it. I feel like, have you got a camo jacket or something, or a hoodie?
I do. I've got camo pants and a camo jacket.
That's right.
I do muck around with camo here or there.
Yeah, and I knew that. And that's why I'm going to say I'm not against camo, because I think it has its place. But no, not interested on my controller or console. I think it may have been the previous episode I was on was when they were rolling out the neon pink and blues, and
those ones are nice.
And yeah, they're probably better than this one. But I have to say again, these choices, I don't understand how these are the first things that you come to when you're picking colorways. Like it baffles me. Like there's so many things people would love. We got the black at least, that's great. But where's the classic grey that the nostalgia heads would be jumping over each other to get? That's the one that maybe they're saving it for like an
anniversary
event or anniversary. Yeah, something like that. But I don't know. It's camo. Like,
yeah,
I
it's
think
not the prettiest. It's sort of that like digital camo is what it's sort of known for. Like it's a hybridized of like traditional camouflage splatters, and then because it's got the PlayStation patterns scattered through some of the grey colorway, it sort of blends into that digital camo aesthetic. Like it's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. It's not the ugliest, but I wouldn't buy any of this kit. Like I'm with you. It's a very interesting marketing decision. I like some of the galaxy red and the pink and the blue and the purple that they did a couple of months ago. But yeah, this ain't for me. I'm with you, JP. I think they maybe should have went a little bit safer with some of their coloring aesthetics for limited releases.
I know that camo is a lot more popular in the US, where there's obviously the big hunting culture and tradition, guns and everything. But there's so many cool colorways that we know from the previous generation that look awesome. There's like the alpine green one, like there's a navy blue that looks really cool. I'm surprised that again they're bypassing the safer and more stylish options to go with the funky and the I wouldn't call this one funky, like the blue and pink neons, but it's a bit more out there. So yeah,
I'd love to know sales out data on all these limited colorways. Like we never see releases like that to actually know how many units get moved when they do these limited runs. But yeah, this one is certainly not making me reach for my wallet to say I need this. That's for sure.
No.
Next little quick hitter here. I just wanted to sort of circle back because we did mention this last week on THG 298, and this ties into Tyler Blevins, aka Ninja, where we were talking about him taking a break. He rage quit his last game of Fortnite at time of recording for episode 298 and saying he was going to be breaking away from streaming, not sure when he was coming back. But listeners, that was all a goddamn ruse because, we sort of went semi-deep and we're talking about, the risks of burnout and doing your thing for mental health. But apparently Ninja decided to use that as a bit of a marketing ploy and has since come out overnight saying that he's taken a little time off, but he's back and he'll be live everywhere from tomorrow. So what this means in essence is not only is his Twitch exclusivity contract over because now he can stream concurrently on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, but yeah, he just really missed the memo on this one, JP. I think this is really shitty what he's done, where he's made light of serious health-related situations and scenarios that we all deal with on the daily, and he sort of used it to try and get some extra eyes on his content leading up to this announcement. I think it was very, very poorly handled.
It certainly seems like that. Is that confirmed that it was just marketing? Like he's totally fine. He said, "Nah, it was just a gimmick."
He hasn't said it in those exact words, but when he sort of says he's taking a break and he's not sure when he's going live next, and like that whole situation, like he rage quit the game and was like, "I'm done streaming. That's it. No more," sort of thing. So it was all a parody to then go, "Ha ha ha! I'm back, but I'm everywhere now." So I just think it was it could have been handled a lot better.
Yeah, that's pretty weak if that is exactly what's happened there, because my first thought was, maybe he was just having a really bad day, and then the next day, the light of day, he was like, actually, that would be a bad decision for me to step away completely. I'm back. But it sounds like that's not what happened, and that it was, done for theatrics and marketing, which, yeah, like you've already said it's a pretty terrible thing to do when there are people that are legitimately burning out and having to take breaks and taking more than one day off or a week, or because it wasn't just him that you mentioned last week. Was it Pokimane?
Yeah, Pokimane. She also mentioned this. There hasn't been anything sort of surfacing regarding her doing a similar scenario like this, so I think she might be genuinely taking a break and recharging and resetting, which is something that we all should do when it does become too much. But Ninja, he had a full marketing video accompanying this tweet So this was all very planned and staged and thought out as far as, I'm done, I'm quitting, don't know when I'm coming back. Ha ha ha, here I am, everywhere now.
It's very Paul Pierce coming out of the wheelchair for the NBA fans, or I guess the wrestlers who play dead and then,
Yeah, this was Undertaker in the coffin many times over and getting up and, grabbing someone by the jugular. But it was, in this case, the gaming audience or the gaming community as a whole. So, yeah, just don't make light of these things.
Yeah, he'll reap what he sows, though. Like, if there were people who were genuine fans that were genuinely upset or concerned for his well-being, and then he turned around and did that, I think that it'd be natural for those people to be like, right, well, in that case, I guess I don't trust you anymore, and you've lost a listener or a watcher. And that's happened to me, where people have done the old April Fools about something, like, I'm quitting or whatever. I can't do it anymore. And then you send them a message trying to be all genuine, like, you had a good run or whatever. And then like, that's if I would quit, like it's just April Fools. And I'm like, well, don't mess with people's emotions like that. Like it's not like yeah, soliciting sympathy and kudos and well wishes only to be like, you should know that I would never do that. Like that's basically the same thing that he's done here. And
exactly. I personally hate April Fools. I hate it for that exact reasoning that you just said. Like when some, especially when it does go that step beyond just, I don't know, like where it's something a little lighthearted, April Fool's Day, where then they're like, yeah, I've lost my job, or they joke about being pregnant, like all those ones where they take it into those realms. It's like, no, I know you're not fan of foul language, but those people can get fucked. Like,
yeah,
that's so disrespectful to so many people. And yeah, April Fool's Day needs to go away, in my opinion.
If you're privy to anyone planning a fake pregnancy announcement, just like put your finger to their lips and say, shh, no, don't do that. It's very hurtful to a lot of people to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, just be better. Just think a little more before you try and execute your intricate prank come April 1st next year. So, Ninja just doing Ninja things. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last time he'll do something weird or say something horrible on social media or have a very ignorant viewpoint on things. But anyway, that's what happens in the gaming space a lot of the time with these content creators. But let's move on. So over the weekend and sort of into sort of the back end of last week, depending on where you are in the world, D23 2022 has been running. So that is the celebration of all things Disney. So that can encompass things from Star Wars, the Marvel Universe, and a whole host of other franchises. But we just wanted to sort of let you guys and gals know what you need to know relating to the first ever Disney and Marvel Games Showcase. So this gave us a glimpse into the future of Disney and Marvel games from studios from all around the world. There were a lot of announcements within the show, but we'll sort of read off all the headlines and just dive deep where we deem it necessary, because we might not have strong opinions or any opinions on some of these announcements. So we'll just sort of jump in and add some weight to it where we can. And I think we might start off, JP, with probably the biggest announcement of this Disney and Marvel Games Showcase. That ties into Amy Hennig and Skydance New Media. They've finally revealed their upcoming narrative-driven ensemble adventure game with Marvel Entertainment. It's going to be centered around Captain America and Black Panther during World War II. During the story, players will travel to Paris, Wakanda, and potentially more places. Well, the game is currently untitled. It promises to feature 4 playable heroes: a young Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, Azuri, so that's T'Challa's grandfather and the World War II era Black Panther, Gabriel Jones, who's a US soldier and member of the Howling Commandos, and Nanali, leader of the fledgling Wakandan spy network. So we didn't really get any gameplay. Obviously, we don't even have an official title of this game, but Amy Hennig is a big get for this broader Marvel gaming universe, and I think she's going to add a lot of weight to the narrative behind this game. But 4-person action adventure set in World War II, is this a needle mover for you, JP, or where are you standing regarding Captain America and Black Panther?
Yeah, the needle's not dead. Like, the needle's flickering a little. The Amy Hennig element of it is certainly the most enticing. The fact that it's narrative driven. I don't know what ensemble adventure game means. Like that literally means nothing. Like what game wouldn't you describe as an adventure when it comes to some kind of Marvel property? An ensemble. Okay, so it's possibly it's most likely multiplayer.
It's not apparently
What?
overnight have confirmed it's not multiplayer.
Okay.
You'll be able to play and experience all 4 of those characters, whether that be they have their own sort of missions just locked to them, or whether you can jump between them willy-nilly. I don't know, but from what I saw overnight, they've confirmed at this stage that it's not actually multiplayer.
Okay, well that moves the needle a lot more for me. I like my single-player narratives, and yeah, maybe it's like a GTA 5 kind of jumping between Trevor and Franklin and Michael kind of thing. Maybe like not an open world necessarily, but taking the control of each character through different events. That could be pretty cool, especially if there's hopefully there's a heist mission. I'm getting carried away in my head thinking about what this could be, but the setting and the characters and the people working on it are very enticing. I really wish they had a name for it. I don't know how you get to this point without having a name to
it's
go
bizarre,
along with it.
isn't it? Like, because they had a genuine cut together official CG trailer that ran for over 60 seconds. This wasn't just like a static graphic with a splash. Like this was a nice animation. We saw a Hydra military hat there, so maybe we get some Red Skull as the big bad in this one. I don't know. Maybe we get to face Hitler. Maybe we get to punch Hitler as Captain America. Yeehaw, that'd be great. But
Yes.
yeah, the fact is Untitled was just weird to me.
It's like it's such a terrible marketing move to have no name, because how are we going to talk about it? Are we going to call it the Captain America and Black Panther game? Or are we going to call it the Skydance game? Are we going to call it the Amy Hennig game? Marvel's such a huge thing that transcends, this podcast and the IGNs. Like, it goes beyond this to the casuals, to the point where you'd want people talking about it and, watching the trailers on YouTube ads and whatever it is, like Super Bowl commercials. So that conversation should be starting now. If I was the marketing team behind it, I'd have come up with at least, it doesn't have to necessarily be the final title, but something that people can call it, so that eventually there can be a news story saying, hey, Project Cap Panther is now called this,
It's very bizarre. Very bizarre. That was the strangest part about this whole reveal. Like, there was some leaks happening a few days out, as is tradition these days with the internet. But yeah, the fact that there's still no title for this game, real missed opportunity there, I think. Like, as you said, like, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And when you say, hey, did you see that Marvel game trailer this weekend? Which one was that? Oh, it's got Captain America in it. Yeah, well, so does most of the Marvel games that are out there. Like, what do you punch into your search browser to try and dig that up? So yeah, it's probably a bit of a misstep there, but
do we have a year? Do we have an announced year for this? Right.
No, nothing.
So, maybe it's still a long way away.
I reckon so. I reckon, we're probably 3 years out from this game becoming reality, but it's still cool to know. And I'm excited to see what you said, what does an ensemble adventure game that is narrative driven actually entail? So we'll find out in the distant future. We also had a little bit more of an update regarding Marvel's Midnight Suns. It has now been given a new release date of December 2nd for 2022. At this stage, it's only confirmed for like current gen consoles and PC. So there's no Switch version confirmed. There's no PlayStation 4 version of this game out. It's only next or current gen and PC. But if you want your real-time strategy with a Marvel flavor to it, and also incorporating, I'm interested to see more of this supernaturally stuff. The trailer looked funky, but I don't know. It's not a big needle move for me. JP, you in?
I've never been in on this. Just the fact that it's a,
strategy game?
Yeah, strategy game. Like, I never got into XCOM and that kind of thing. So it just looks like something that's probably going to be enjoyed by a lot of people, but not me.
Yeah. The next one, we got a reveal for Tron Identity, which is a new visual novel adventure that's going to be making its way to the PC and consoles next year. And that's done from Thomas Was Alone developer Bithell Games. Looked interesting. I'm not huge on Tron, but it looked kind of cool, and I like we've got a visual novel game. It's a bit different, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Volume, which I think was a Mike Bithell game back in the day. Did you ever play that one?
I didn't. I've seen it around, but no, I haven't touched that one.
Yeah. So that was a fun little. It's kind of like a stealth, really simple stealth game.
Mm-hmm.
Taking some inspiration from like Metal Gear Solid, but applying it to more of an indie scale level-based experience. So that was cool. But being a visual novel, doesn't really, like, when you think of Tron, you think of like speed and movement, and it doesn't really. I don't picture like
static panels and
exactly
having that full immersion. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of convey that source material into a visual novel, but it looked pretty from an aesthetic standpoint. Something else that I thought looked nice is the next one, Disney Illusion Island. So it's a new 2D platformer starring Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy. It's going to be making its way to this Nintendo Switch exclusively in 2023. Very throwback to sort of Mickey Mouse shorts and like cartoons of yesteryear. Been able to play this, from what I can see, with 3 other players, both online and local split-screen co-op, is really fun. So it's got a bit of a Super Mario Bros. Vibe to it, but with a Mickey Mouse coat of paint. But it looked quirky in the fact that all the characters were had voice lines as well. So it wasn't just text screen. These guys were actually talking and having interactions and sort of fleshing out that world in their unique Disney way.
Yeah, I do love a good platformer, but I don't know about this one. The voices bothered me. I know that's like Mickey's voice, but I think there's a reason that Mickey hasn't really been relevant for the last like 30 years.
You just wait till you play a bit of Disney Dreamlight Valley. He'll be very relevant for you again, JP. Okay. The next one. So Pokemon Go developer Niantic has revealed it is partnered with Marvel Entertainment to develop Marvel World of Heroes, which is an AR game that will let fans create their very own superhero and team up with their favorite Marvel characters in the real world. For those interested, you can pre-register right now at marvelworldofheroes.com ahead of its global launch on mobile devices in 2023. So Niantic know how to make an AR-style game. They obviously set the world on fire with Pokemon Go way back when, and if they can do similar with Marvel, I think this could be a real big money spinner.
Yeah, I kind of thought Marvel Snap was going to be something like this, I guess, but I guess not. I
just downloaded Marvel Snap today, so I'm looking forward to playing that, actually.
Yeah, it's appropriately named for you.
Oh yeah, Marvel Snap game. Cannot wait. Real quick hit of this one. We've got a very brief blink and you miss it look at Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. So the gameplay trailer that is accompanying the next Avatar film. I could not care less about Avatar these days, JP. And seeing less of this on screen, the better for me at the moment, which I feel horrible to say.
Yeah, it was one of multiple Avatar appearances, wasn't it?
Yep.
But
we got another one to mention in a couple of paragraphs' time.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just weave it in right now.
Sure.
So the other sort of Avatar-related news that came out of this ties into the MMORPG shooter called Avatar Reckoning, which is going to be coming out in the near future. It's a mobile title, and it's going to let you customize your own avatar and explore Pandora across multiple game modes. But we were talking about needles barely being moved earlier. This thing, the needle fell off. Whatever the machine is that the needle is moving in, it fell off for me. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out. See ya.
Yeah, I mean, the first trailer, Frontiers of Pandora, it was a cinematic trailer, which might as well just be like the movie trailer, because what's the difference, really? They're both completely CG. One of them's just slightly better CG. So that trailer in itself, did nothing for me. This one, I did think it was semi-interesting until I saw that it was a mobile game, and then, the needle snapped in half.
It's a tough day for needles. But we got a little bit more love on Return to Monkey Island, which is obviously coming out on International Talk Like a Pirate Day, which is September the 19th. So we got a little bit more of a showcase there. There is many listeners, and yourself included, JP, very excited for Return to Monkey Island.
Yeah, I look forward to being able to talk about that one in the coming weeks with, I think, hopefully some early access to that, and hopefully we can get a bit of a spoiler cast and review up there, since I know Benny's a big fan, and Miss Ali Hart, of course, is a big fan, I believe, at least, of the originals. And whether or not we all three of us can get together or not, we'll see. But I think at least a couple of us should be able to talk about that one on top of whatever.
Yeah, the tentative is to get a nice juicy spoiler cast released in parallel with Return to Monkey Island in the coming weeks. We got a little bit more gameplay for Aliens Dark Descent, which is a squad-based top-down shooter. It just doesn't look good. This game, we're talking about needles again. I hate to be so pessimistic, but this was another one. Like that needle that fell off from the Avatar games, Aliens Dark Descent sort of stood on that needle as it sort of walked past.
Kicked it across the floor underneath a couch.
Underneath the couch, yep. Goddamn Carter Burke ruining things for me again. But yeah, this game just, it doesn't jive with me at all, JP.
This is one that if there was no investment, like if it was on Game Pass, I'd definitely download it just to try it out. Because as it popped up, and I hadn't heard of it until today, but as it popped up and I saw it was a, strategy top-down squad thing, I was like, yeah. But then actually, as I watched more of it and I thought about the potential fun of trying to hunt down a xenomorph, I was like, actually, maybe I could get into this. So we'll see. It's not something that I'd be like, yes, I'm going to spend the $40 or $50 or whatever it ends up costing to play it when I have no real faith in how good it's going to be. But that's, I guess, the beauty of something like Game Pass. If it does ever end up over there, is you can just dip in and, it's actually surprisingly good. Or if it reviews well, you can give it a crack. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, if this makes its way to Game Pass, I'll certainly spin it up just to sort of see if there is some reward to that game. But just from what I've seen, and I think I'm just so heartbroken eternally when it comes to Aliens. I just don't have much faith on majority of the games that get released in that world. But yeah, if it comes onto Game Pass, and if we could play this, in a squad-based environment where we can play together through Game Pass, okay, the needle is sticky taped back on for now. For now.
You just want it treated with a bit of respect, the way it should, with, some narrative focus in there, some lore to dig into, and yeah, like the way it should be, really.
110%. The next one, I did not expect to see this in the announcements or the reveals. So the classic 90s platformer Gargoyles, which was loosely following the plot of the Disney animated series of the same name, is making a return to modern consoles and PC with updated visuals and controls. So Gargoyles was first released on the Sega Genesis in 1995 and was one of the earlier projects of composer Michael Giacchino. I liked the TV show back in the day. I never played the game, but the TV show, I liked it because it was a bit darker, it was a bit broodier, and the concept was always very interesting to me. But we're getting more of it next year or the year after, with Gargoyles getting remade for modern platforms.
This is one of those games that I didn't even realize existed until today. Like, we knew about Aladdin and The Lion King. They were ones that were on the radar, definitely, when I was younger. May have even played them here or there. But the Gargoyles one doesn't have, it's not one of those by osmosis games that everyone has heard of, I think. Like, it mustn't have reviewed amazingly, or it hasn't been one of those, like, things where, YouTubers will say, this is an underrated classic or whatever. So, happy for it to come back up. Maybe it's retooled with some better controls, and that solves some of with the presumably original problems with it. But the series is very interesting, I find. Like, it's like what you said. It's a darker version of well, not even a version, but it's drawn in like the style of some of those classic, Batman and Spider-Man animated series from back then. And for Disney to do something that was a little bit darker was pretty cool at the time.
Yeah, so we'll see if there's an appetite for this when it comes out in the coming years. It was just so far off my radar, it wasn't funny. When I saw Gargoyles get a mention, I'm like, what year is it again? Like, what is going on? What is next? The last piece here, Disney Mirrorverse is a free-to-play action RPG game that is set in a divergent Disney universe that has united the most iconic heroes and villains against a dark force. So this is another mobile title, and it's getting its own Halloween season and will introduce guardians like Hades and more. So a mixture of mobile, Lego, and Disney Speedstorm is the biggest takeaway there for me. I'm such a kart racer fan, and so if this is done well and can hit, doesn't need to hit like the same highs as Mario Kart, but if you can get close, I think there's an appetite for this game to be a bit of a money earner and something that could be supported for a while.
Yeah, none of these items really move the needle for me. Ugh, keep saying move the needle. That wasn't even a callback.
You're a writer. Come up with some better terms.
It's just part of my vocab. But the Disney Mirrorverse one, I just like that people that can't afford to buy games can play cool stuff like this. Like, imagine, when we were kids, we jumped on the internet and played the like Flash games on the internet and stuff that were free because you might be getting sick of whatever's in the console at that time or installed on the computer.
Shout out to Newgrounds.
Yeah, and what else was the like RuneScape and stuff like that. But kids now just jump on your phone, download Disney Mirrorverse, and there's all your favorite characters, Simpsons games, whatever you want. Like, it's just there. That's pretty cool. Even if they're not setting the world on fire.
And especially with the processing power of smartphones these days, like they can get a lot out of a phone or mobile-based game comparative to, even something like a Nintendo Switch. Like some of the phone processors and screen resolutions, like some of the phones out there these days are stronger than a Switch out of the box. And seeing that shift into more of a mobile focus where these big IPs go on there. And as you said, JP, I think the biggest takeaway from it is, if you can't afford the $99 or whatever the new title is for your Switch or your Xbox, but you can get a similar experience, asterisk, on your smartphone for either free or a couple of dollars, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, like, even like we're gonna get to it in the next section talking about Ubisoft, but some of the big IPs are making mobile games, and we've been seeing that for years with Fortnite and all kinds of battle royales, that like PUBG and all kinds of things releasing on mobile. And I know like my brother and his kid play a lot of like Genshin Impact, and they'll jump between the PS4 and the iPad, and it's just seamless between them. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to play.
Yeah, in not too many years ahead, I'd imagine it's all just going to be cloud-based. It's like, do you want to play on your smartphone? You want to play on your telly? You don't have to worry about a console plugged in. You just connect to the Sony server or the Xbox server and log into your account, and away you go. So, yeah, shout out to Genshin Impact. That is a money maker in every sense of the word. Yeah. I haven't played that in a while, though. So my money has been free from their evil wrath. All right, so moving on. We're going to now be unpacking the Ubisoft Forward event that occurred late last night / early this morning, depending on where you were in the world. I did not sit up and watch it. I nearly could have, though, because I was up playing that damn Disney game until I think 2:30. So I could have sort of sucked it up for a little while longer and watched this live, but instead I slept and then caught up with it this morning. You've watched it this morning as well, JP?
Yep. Watched it in bed on my phone.
Nice.
The way it's meant to be watched.
Amen to that, JP. All right. So, this Ubisoft Forward event, it's come and gone, and we'll just break down all the news and big announcements from today's event. We won't go granular on everything, but we'll sort of cover off the main talking points and similar with the D23 based stuff, just dive in and add some weight to it where we think. So in a nutshell, Ubisoft Forward, it was a big Assassin's Creed showcase because it is the 15-year anniversary tied to Assassin's Creed. So there's going to be a lot of talking point around that franchise. And we'll start it off with Assassin's Creed Infinity. So yeah, Ubisoft has officially revealed that Assassin's Creed Infinity is a new platform and hub that will serve as the future of the Assassin's Creed franchise. Furthermore, Ubisoft shared that the first 2 games for the platform, one that will follow the life of a shinobi in feudal Japan and another helmed by Watch Dogs Legion director Clint Hocking. Assassin's Creed Infinity is not a game itself, but a place where players will explore and jump into future entries, beginning with the feudal Japan game Assassin's Creed is currently calling it, codenamed Red. Well, not much was revealed about the second game, Assassin's Creed codename Hexy. It was revealed that it will be a very different type of Assassin's Creed game and may or may not feature witchcraft. In addition to the single-player games, Ubisoft also shared that Assassin's Creed multiplayer will return in some form, although said details will come at a later date. So Assassin's Creed Infinity is the hub for Assassin's Creed moving forward.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. These all just become like almost minor like releases, almost like expansions.
When they said it,
my thought.
When they said it wasn't a game, right?
No, it's a platform and hub.
Yeah. So that makes me think maybe it's some kind of interface where you can kind of like a.
Is it the metaverse, JP? The metaverse?
Possibly. It's like some kind of way to collate all the lore and history of the Assassin's Creed franchise chronologically by release date, and you can jump in there and maybe watch cinematics from the different games and read the story of the different games and see how they all tie together as far as the overarching plot from A to B and C to D all the way to, the very end. Because there's 15 years of games. There's been at least 15, probably more, Assassin's Creed games in that time. And it's pretty easy to lose track of how they relate to each other. There is so much
lore. My God. It is like, I'd consider us, very big fans of Assassin's Creed, and we've played a lot of these games from front to back religiously and meticulously. And me trying to even explain the lore in a nice, succinct way would take a lot of concentration to make sure I make it make sense for people, because there is so much going on.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's something like that. The fact that it's, you've got the Animus. So maybe it's like an Animus-based UI or whatever that you can kind of explore the memories and the DNA strands and all that kind of thing. So I can kind of visualize what it could be, but I could be completely wrong.
I think that's a great way to hypothetically define what Infinity is. Yeah, it could be the game as Animus. Yeah, it is your central chair, your central connective point to going back and forward throughout the timeline and learning more about the characters. Maybe they then sort of like break that wall, that immersion wall a little bit as well, and have like all the behind the scenes and dev diaries and interviews and all that. Like have this as just that central hub. And it's a smart play because, there is many games, many characters, many more games on the way, and some we'll be talking about in more detail shortly. But the one there, out of this whole event, this one got me the most, and that was the codename Red, which is going to be set in feudal Japan, playing the role of a shinobi. Like, I immediately thought of Tenchu straight away, and I'm like, let's go. Take my money right now, Ubi. I do not care if the Chinese overlords own you in full by the time this game comes out. Take all of my money, because a modern day, homage to Tenchu, I'm down.
Yeah, I think, you know what I'm going to say. I think Ghost of Tsushima ate their lunch a little bit by getting to this a few years earlier. This game is what people have been asking for like at least 10 years and expecting and hypothesizing about, and surely the next game's going to be set in Japan. Like, it's just a no-brainer for the style of gameplay. And then, PlayStation comes along and makes a similar kind of game and does it, in many people's opinion, much better than what had been done in the Assassin's Creed franchise, especially around the point that it came out. And now I think they're playing catch up to make a game that feels like an Assassin's Creed game, that doesn't feel like they're just making a worse version of Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, I think people would be a lot hungrier for it if they hadn't had their fill a couple of years ago. But that's not going to take away, I don't think, from just the general excitement that they're finally doing this.
I am eternally ravenous for feudal Japan-based games, so
there's plenty of pie to go around.
Very excited to jump into this Codename Red Pie whenever it does drop. And then the other one, though, like we only got a very brief trailer that went for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, codenamed Hexy as well, where it's got the Assassin's Creed traditional logo, like tight, like made with sticks, like you would see in a lot of witches and covens and mysticism. So this could be something completely different to what we know and understand from Assassin's Creed, where they sort of jump into this sort of dark fantasy world a little bit more, which I would be very keen to experience.
Yeah, without spoiling Valhalla, it does kind of venture more into the supernatural in that game. And it makes you wonder if they're going to explore some different realities or something in this one, because it's very far and away a different vibe than what you get from, Syndicate or Black Flag or any of the older Assassin's Creed games. So yeah, interesting. People are speculating a lot already, I'm sure, but who knows? Maybe the enemy is a bunch of witches. It made me think of the three hags in The Witcher 3 that you have to take down, those creepy old ladies. But we'll see. Let the speculation begin.
Yeah, those two games, Codename Red and Codename Hexy, certainly. If I was holding a pen and a notepad while I was watching this, they would have been written in like bold font going, yes, let's go, let's ride, I'm excited for this. Obviously, we also got the first big reveal for Assassin's Creed Mirage. So this was announced several days ago, but we got a nice chunky deep dive on this in the Ubisoft Forward event. And it's confirmed that it's going to be a new adventure that will take place in Baghdad, approximately 20 years before the events of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It will star Basim Ibn Ishaq and is designed to be a modern take on the original gameplay template from the early Assassin's Creed game. So during development, the team at Ubisoft Bordeaux focused on the same three design pillars as the original game, which are stealth, parkour, and assassinations. Cool thing with Assassin's Creed Mirage as well is it's slated to be released in 2023. I'm assuming around that October window that they typically fall. So this looked really cool. I like that they're, I guess, going back to their roots, but with a nice fresh coat of paint, because graphically this game's going to be stunning. And the fact that they can potentially weave in characters and events around Valhalla, I'm not sad about either, because Ivor is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed characters to date. But Mirage, are you in? Are you seeing it for what it is, or are you seeing it as a Mirage and think it's a bit of an illusion, this game?
No, I'm keen. This was probably the coolest thing for me from the showcase. I did like that it's, harking back to the days of yore when Assassin's Creed was not an RPG, when it was a bit simpler. And I hope they don't go completely to the template of the original Assassin's Creed, because it was a very formulaic, get the mission, do the mission, return. Like it doesn't need to go back to 2007 as much as it is focusing on those tenets of stealth, parkour, and assassinations. I'm glad
it is worrying, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Like, because people have complained that the latest few Assassin's Creed games, they're too big, 150 hours, it's too much.
I mean, it's true. They are too big.
They're big, but like for them to potentially rip the handbrake and go all the way back to the beginning again and go, fine then, we're going back to a more Rails-based game where, yeah, you're going from point A to point B, cutting out the exploration. Like, it's a very knee-jerk reaction if they've cut out a lot of the charm of those open worlds.
That's true. But I'm a fan of, the setting. Like, it's the closest thing to that original Assassin's Creed as well, which was set in, the Holy Land, like the kind of Israel, and this is more east over to what's known as Iraq these days. The fact that it has Basim from Valhalla in it as, that protagonist is interesting, especially with the way that Valhalla ended, without spoiling it. But it'll be interesting how, like, will there be anything from Valhalla that carries over to this, even though it is set prior? It's hard to talk about without, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
So yeah, I'm curious how it will continue from Valhalla. But yeah, I mean, as is always the case with these things, I hope that it's, I hope they're kind of in a tough spot, because every year, if they do something exactly the same, people complain, and if they do something that's too different, people will complain. But I think that the direction of Valhalla was mostly good, aside from it being too long, for my taste, which has just been a trend over the years for the series. I have more thoughts about that, which I'll touch on a bit later when we talk more broadly about Ubisoft and the showcase in general. But yeah, this was probably the thing for me that I was most excited about.
Shout out to old Shorey Agdashlu, who's going to be joining the voice cast as one of the main characters. She'll be playing Roshan, who is Basim's mentor. She's got such a distinctive vocal delivery, and I'm all for it. So hopefully that'll add a little bit more weight to Mirage when it comes out next year. We also got some focus on a game called Codename Jade at the moment. So it's going to be set in ancient China, and it's a mobile-based game. It's got an open world that's going to be built with touch controls on smartphones and tablets in mind. But yeah, it's going to be allowing players to explore China in the year 215 BC and even parkour across the Great Wall of China, should you choose. Cool. Like, I think we already mentioned that there's a lot of hope regarding mobile gaming now and into the future, and this further exemplifies that.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it was mobile. That's for sure.
Yeah, it took me a second to gather, because the trailer was pretty impressive.
Do you think it'll be like a $10 game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
$10 to $20 on the mobile store. We've also got a free update headed to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the game that just keeps on going, called The Last Chapter, and it will tie up all the loose ends of Ivor's story. Awesome. Cannot wait to jump back into that and lose even more hours in that world.
Yeah, I haven't decided whether I'm going to yet.
Oh, well.
Have you been back to Valhalla? They've added a lot of stuff, and I haven't touched any of it.
I'm not up to date with like the latest DLC, but I've played the first part of first paid DLC and jumped around in some of the free updates. But I think I'm 2 packages behind still.
Right. Okay.
It's a lot, that game.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot. We got a brand new trailer showcasing some adorable chaotic gameplay regarding Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and also received some confirmation that it'll be getting some DLC, including one that will bring Rayman into the world of Mario plus Rabbids. Looked fun, looked fine. I haven't even played the first Mario plus Rabbids game. This just isn't a genre or style of game for me.
No, neither.
Skull and Bones, we got some more information with another trailer diving deep on ship customization, in-game trading, so on and so forth, coming out on November the 8th. I'm still going to play it. I'm hoping it gets announced to drop on Game Pass, because I don't want to buy this game as a full release. It's taking one of the cooler parts of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but then forgetting all the other cool parts from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yeah. Like, Sea of Thieves, even though it's completely different tonally, does what Skull and Bones does in a lighter fashion, but just much better. But I don't know, for the naval purists out there, this is probably making them harder than a bird's nest during, I don't know, monsoon season.
This is I've been looking forward to Skull and Bones since it was announced back when I was in primary school. And I just don't like the direction it's going. And maybe it was always going to be what it is, but I thought it was going to be an Assassin's Creed game without the assassins, and that sounded exciting to me.
Yeah, no Templars, no crazy space stuff, just pirates.
Just like, Red Dead, but it's pirates. Like, just who's making that game and why aren't you? Every developer. Because I've been wanting that since before, like, Red Dead came out. I remember, like, saying, like, I want Rockstar to make a pirate game. And then they made Red Dead, and I was like, that's fine, that's better. But I still want that to happen. And the fact that this is mostly, as far as we can tell, just sailing and battles, like, when you're traveling in Black Flag, it's exciting because you have a destination and there's something to do when you get there. Whereas I don't know if I'm going to be motivated enough by, if you deliver this loot, you will get to keep more of it, or if you like if you arrive in time, then you'll get a bounce. Like, why am I sailing around? Like, I need like a reason, not just to shoot down other ships and loot them. Like, you know what I mean? It just needs to have a narrative interest for me to latch on to something like this. So I think it looks great. Like, every Ubisoft game looks great, like, visually. But is it going to have its hooks in us, especially when it launches just before Ragnarok and other stuff? It's not setting itself up for success.
It could get scuttled very early in the release piece if it's not careful, because it's going up against some very big titles in that November, December, late October sort of gamut. And I'm with you. The fact that the only time you get to sort of see your pirate is when you're in your own little pirate treasure alcove encampment or whatever. Like, once you're on the ship, you're sort of stuck static to the bloody, what do you call a steering wheel on a ship? The wheel, just the wheel.
It's literally a wheel.
Yeah, you're stuck to the wheel. Like, there's no maneuverability outside of steering a ship. Like, the ship becomes the character. And
is there hand-to-hand combat?
Not that I've seen. Like, I could have missed it. So listeners, if I have, let me know. But from what I've seen in all the trailers, it's just naval-based battles between ships and then enemy outposts and things like that.
I mean, that was the coolest thing in Black Flag, was shooting a bunch of arrows and cannonballs into another ship and then
doing
jumping
the boarding.
then jumping on that ship and fighting them. But
so we'll see how this goes in just under 2 months' time now, when Skull and Bones makes its way to PC and console. But the saving grace potentially with this game, because there is such a reliance on multiplayer, is that it's going to be cross-platform at launch.
Yeah,
so that's a very good pro-consumer move by Ubisoft there. But is that enough to keep this ship afloat? I don't know, JP. I do not know. A couple other little quick hitters. Trackmania is finally headed to consoles. It's been a PC exclusive for a long, long time. It's making its way to consoles, as well as other platforms such as Google Stadia and Amazon Luna in 2023. Just Dance, back again, as is tradition. It is the eternal. It is the FIFA. It is the Call of Duty of the dance world. It's shown a nice, shiny new look. It's got some different new aesthetics, where there's a function in the game called Dance on Demand. So that ties into online multiplayer and a new interface for, I guess, traditionalists of Just Dance. It's got a nice, sexy coat of paint. This game, obviously, it sells by the boatload. Not the boats from Skull and Bones, that's for sure. But it sells by the boatload to the general consumer. And yeah, it was interesting to watch them dance and whatever else during the event.
It's not something I've jumped into, Just Dance, and it'll probably stay that way for a long time.
I can't dance. I'm from the town in Footloose. Like, I just have no rhythm. So I stay very clear away. Like, we got PAX next month, and there's always a Just Dance booth at every PAX where you can get up there and dance with the Ubisoft staff and people in mascot outfits and stuff. And I give that a wide berth every time because that terrifies me. Same as like the DDR games in the arcade. No way am I getting up there and bloody trying to dance frantically to crazy beats. Like, I'm out. My feet stay on the ground planted, and they always will. Circling back to mobile, we got some gameplay for Rainbow Six Mobile, which is a brand new free-to-play game that was built from the ground up for mobile. It's going to be shifting into closed beta from tomorrow, and Google Play users can sign up right now. It's going to have 5v5 matches, crossplay, and voice chat. Cool. Happy for mobile to get more love, and yeah, Ubisoft to continue to look in other avenues to make cash.
I'm going to hold my tongue about mobile and free-to-play games till we're at the end of this, because I'm concerned about a lot of the stuff that they're showing. Like a lot of the focus? There's just so much focus on mobile and free-to-play, and it's like... Yeah, I'll save it till I can have a real good rant without getting in the way of all these games that we want to talk about. I'm looking forward to this rant. The next little update we've had, The Division Heartland. It's the free-to-play game set in the world of Ubisoft's massive Tom Clancy series. The Division 2 Season 10, Price of Power. Yeah, they're going to be embarking on a new manhunt, who obviously General Peter Anderson is a true Sons leader trying to ally with the Black Tusk against the Division. That new season is dropping this coming week as well. More Division talk. The Division Resurgence, a mobile spin-off, JP. It's currently accepting sign-ups for its next testing phase. So this testing phase is going to be testing things like PvP modes like their Dark Zone and Conflict options. So a ton of Division-related content, both PC, console, and mobile there, JP. Are you still dabbling with the Division, or have you fallen off that wagon like me? No, I platinumed the Division 2. You platinumed it? I did. I love Division 2. You're an animal. That was my second game of the year in 2019, and I played a lot of it with some friends. It's one of the only games that I've played significantly online with people. Probably played it more online than any other game. But I know my friend Tom Marshall, he played it for like 6 months or even longer. Like he was going back for these seasonal drops and whatnot. So definitely has its fan base who certainly play it as a live service game. And I'm surprised, like season 10, I went back for the DLC. There was like a return to New York section that you could play through. I went back to that, which involved, re-downloading it, but I haven't been constantly jumping back in, so can't claim to be the superest of super fans. Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it, but it's similar in my mindset and thought process as something like Destiny or Destiny 2, where a new piece of content might drop, I might jump in, work through that expansion, and then I'll be gone, smoke bomb style for like 12 months. And then another piece of content will come, I'll reappear, work through that, and then I disappear again. It was fun, and both of those games, I enjoy them to the fullest when I'm playing with friends. I think we dabbled a little bit together in Division 2, didn't we? Or am I making up stories? I played it on PS4, so probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I was still Xbox solely then. So yeah, maybe the Division 3 when it eventually comes out, if it's going to be cross-platform, we can jump in together and take down Black Tusk and all these other evil corporations and villains. The world of Riders Republic are going to be colliding with Vans. So from September 14th as well. So this coincides with Riders Republic's 4th season. So these Ubisoft games, just season on season of content, is making its way to PC and console this coming week. And it's going to be bringing with it BMX biking. Radical, man. The Crew 2, Season 6, Episode 2, Dominion Frozen, releasing this week as well. What are we doing? That just rolls off the tongue. Jesus Christ. Season 6, Episode 2? Like, it's not Star Wars. It's just a TV series? Yeah.
And like what this ties into, there's 9 new events. It's going to add 50 tiers of rewards, including special edition vehicles. And then it rattles off a few different vehicle types that ties into, The Crew 2, Season 6, Episode 2, Dominion Frozen. So that is coming out this week as well. Ubisoft Forward was also more than just games, as it gave fans like JP and myself a nice juicy look at Mythic Quest Season 3. I cannot wait for this, Jono. Cannot wait.
This was my actual highlight of the whole conference. So good. It was great to see Rob McElhenney introduce it and get a bit of a taste. It looks like it's going to be a pretty wild season, going in some crazy directions I didn't expect. I love this show, and anyone, basically what Rob said on the showcase, if you haven't watched it, it's for you. Like if you're a gamer and you are interested in studios and satire of those studios as well, especially the big ones, and all these things that are so easy to make fun of, like microtransactions and Twitch streamers and everything that's essential to the experience these days. It's such a great series to incorporate that in such a lighthearted but also dramatic at times way.
It makes you feel a gamut of emotions, and it's testament to the writing staff, because it is some of my favorite content on television, and I cannot wait for Season 3. I know after Season 2, we had sort of the lockdown sort of bottle episodes tying in there, and we were worried that might have been it. We weren't going to get a payoff, but luckily we've got Season 3 on the way, and it's coming out this year, which is awesome too. They haven't given us a date yet, but they've said back end of this year sometime, so it'll probably be nice sort of pre and post Christmas viewing, I hope, because it's so good. And Rob McElhenney, the man loves a ring, doesn't he? He had about 9 rings on his fingers, and they were all big, like bikey rings. Like, there's some weight to those hands just walking around and dealing with that.
Was he in character?
I wasn't sure. I don't think he was.
He might have been. I don't think he normally has that many rings. He's, you guys were talking, that's 2 weeks in a row you're talking about him, with Ali talking about the soccer
Wrexham
series. Yeah, so shout out to Rob.
Shout out to Rob. He's doing great work. And I can't wait for Mythic Quest Season 3. We also got Simon Belmont and Alucard confirmed they'll be joining the roster of Brawlhalla from October 19th. And then Netflix and Ubisoft gave us a little bit more of a look behind the curtain as far as that partnership. So they're not only developing a live action adaptation of Assassin's Creed, but they're also working on 3 exclusive Ubisoft mobile games for its players with a Netflix subscription. These games include a sequel to Valiant Hearts, which is a roguelite-inspired Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, and a new original Assassin's Creed game. These games will be free on the Netflix app for those with a subscription and will have no ads or in-app purchases. And the last bit tying off this Ubisoft Forward, Ubisoft Plus celebrates its 3rd anniversary, and they are making the service free up until October the 10th. So anyone on PC, Stadia, or Amazon Luna can log into Ubisoft Plus, and you'll get access to over 100 Ubisoft titles, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla and that 150 plus hours worth of content. So, JP, let's put a bow on Ubisoft Forward. The podium, the sandbox, the soapbox, the microphone, it is all yours, because I know you've got some strong words regarding the overall focus and direction of this Ubisoft Forward, especially when it comes to mobile. Am I right?
Yeah, I want to know what you think as well, Brendan, but it just doesn't sit right with me. Maybe I'm an old school gamer. You know that I prefer single player experiences, but sitting through this as someone that would probably describe themselves as a fan of Ubisoft over the years, it was disappointing just to see game after game of, oh, what's this? Oh, it's a mobile game. Oh, what's this? It's free to play. It's like, it's disappointing that the games that I've loved over the past 10 years just might not ever happen again. And it's a strange thing to come to terms with. Like, think back, even just in the last 5 years, Far Cry 5, Watch Dogs 2, The Division, even a game like Assassin's Creed Syndicate is far and away different than the Assassin's Creed games that we have now. And I wouldn't be surprised if we never get a Far Cry game that's not online and live service and microtransactions. Might even be the next Far Cry might even be free to play. And I have nothing against people getting free games. Obviously, it's just what that means is it's usually a dip in the quality of the content or the style that the game approaches, the approach that they take towards it. And it's, I don't know, I just feel like, they're trying to make money and they're trying to appease shareholders, and that means jumping on the trends and the things that generate that, that V-Bucks, so to speak. It's just far and away separate from what I want from to call them a studio is not really accurate because they're much bigger than a studio, but a publisher like Ubisoft. And then, on top of that, we were talking earlier about Tencent getting their tentacles in on them and owning almost 50% of their parent company, now owning a full 9.99% of Ubisoft in itself. So just these conflicting masters that are calling for a different approach to development than what I love in games is concerning to me. And just to see Rainbow Six Mobile and the Division free-to-play and the Division Mobile and, even Assassin's Creed Valhalla tying up loose ends. Like, why are there loose ends? Like, make a game that doesn't have loose ends so that you don't have to tie them up. Like, that's a novel idea. But it just seems like everything's being done with the intent to get more out of people and to get more time out of people. And it's not what I personally enjoy when I play a game. I don't want to know that I'm missing out on something because so much extra content's been made that I have to keep up with it, or else I'm not getting the full picture.
Yeah, it's. I think you nailed that there. Like, it's a big shift in the traditional Ubisoft business model. Like you mentioned, some big tentpole games. Like, will we ever see another full-fledged Watch Dogs? Like, outside of these games that are going to fall into this Assassin's Creed Infinity ecosystem, are we ever going to get another big giant game that has hundreds of hours of content attached to it? Or in order for us to get this full experience, they're going to start funneling us, and it's like, okay, so you've played Assassin's Creed Mirage and it ends on this cliffhanger. If you want to know more, download Assassin's Creed Mirage Lite on your smartphone and play the free expansion on there. Like, they're going to start sort of, I think, funneling us down paths to getting us onto these other platforms to get these microtransactions and get more share of wallet. And yeah, like you mentioned, the whole 10-cent piece, you could... not equal 10-cent related item, not 10-cent pieces in the coin itself.
Yeah.
That's worrisome because they are big in the mobile space and they obviously want to make money, and the Guillemot family and everyone else on the board of directors and shareholders want to maximize their ROI. So clearly they want to follow these trends such as mobile gaming to then look at their shares being valued higher to then ultimately potentially be acquired by Tencent and sell off and ride off into the sunset. But yeah, it's worrying for sort of a traditional gamer or traditional gamer's mindset, like you mentioned, JP, where you don't want to be force-fed into free-to-play games and these live games. You just want a nice, full, complete experience with a bow on it, and then you can move on. But instead, we're going to be forced to jump into the mobile spin-offs and into these metaverse ecosystems, and Christ knows what else they've got planned at Ubisoft there for all these franchises, both old and new in the long term. So it is worrying, JP. It is very worrying. Yeah. And the fact that you probably watched one of these a couple of years ago and we're seeing announcements for those big standalone juggernaut games, and instead now we're getting 80% of these announcements just about are all mobile centric or available on mobile, and that's worrying for me.
Yeah, like where's Prince of Persia? Like, where's the remake that was promised 2 years ago? Where's like even
Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Yeah.
Where's more of that?
And they don't have to announce everything at once, and we don't have to play all these games that they're announcing. That's not really the issue. It's kind of more like you think about the Division. I think the first one came out in 2016. 2019, we had its sequel. It's now 3 years since that, and we're just getting season 10 of the game, and no talk about, you mentioned maybe we'll get to play Division 3 together. When's the Division 3? Is it necessary? Is it even ever going to happen in their eyes? Because they can still pump out season 20 of the Division 2, plus the mobile spin-off, plus the free-to-play Heartland game, and it's like no sign of slowing down and developing a new experience, like an entirely new experience, not just these bite-sized, desserts to the original.
And that's what
game.
It feels like. It feels like the Division 2 or, let's say the Division 3, that's a full cake. But instead they're like, you know what, we're just going to give you this slice here with Division 2, Season 20, Episode 5, Dominion Hell Exodus Part 5, 6B/C/A. And then it's like, okay, you want another slice? Yeah, here's the mobile spin-off. Here's the free-to-play. Here's the visual novel that accompanies it. You can watch it through the Ubisoft app. And like, it just feels like instead of going from having that whole cake, we're just getting it now broken up. And it's like, you want that, you've got to grab that plate over there and this plate in there. And it's just it's a mess. It's a mess. I just want the cake, John.
Give me the full cake. Give me the full pizza. Give me the full deep dish.
But we wouldn't be able to eat that full deep dish. That's the problem.
Well, that's better. Yeah, I mean it's better than not having enough at all, isn't it? I don't know if the metaphor's holding up anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. We're so the cake metaphor was a bad one because then there's that whole have your cake and eat it. But I've never really been on side with that statement. It's like, yeah, of course, if I'm going to have my cake, I want to eat it too. Like, I'm not going to stare at this cake. I want it. That's my cake. Give me it all. Ubisoft, please give me the whole cake. Don't just give me pieces, because those pieces, if they come out over time, they'll get stale. And then you don't want to eat that cake no more. You want to move on and get another cake.
Share
We're back on track. We've salvaged it, JP.
Sure. Why not?
All right. So, would you say you were happy overall with the Ubisoft Forward event? Would you give it a 8-bit approved? Would you fail it? Would you say it's fine?
The fine. I'm going to be harsh because you guys are always harsher than I am when it comes to these conferences. So with Ali, since I'm sitting in for her, I'm going to try and channel my Miss Hart and say, no, I don't think it was good. I think that it was too much. I mean, like I'm talking. Okay, I'll give two different reviews. There's a Jono review where there wasn't much here for me. There was Assassin's Creed Mirage, and maybe Valhalla last chapter might jump into that. Skull and Bones, maybe, and then after that, Valiant Hearts 2 is exciting, but
you can only play that through Netflix.
Yeah, it's on my mobile phone. And Mythic Quest, I'm all for. So the majority of this conference was not for me. Separating my personal interest in the games, was it a good conference? I mean, I don't think the presentation was very good. Like, the acting was terrible, apart from...
It was rough.
Apart from Sean Hastings, who... I don't know the actor's name, but the guy that plays our favorite Assassin's Creed Pommy, he was great. But the presenters, I don't want to be mean, but not great. It was hard to understand. There was the woman that did Skull and Bones she needed subtitles. Like, her French accent was so thick that I genuinely couldn't understand some of what she was saying, and that's just a shame. Like, that this is an English speaking conference. I'm sure that she's lovely person and everything, and I can't speak French as well as she can speak English, so it's not a dig at her. It just, from a presentation perspective, you have to be able to understand people. But I did think it was cool the way they did those. I guess it was a green screen and the presenter,
like the floor as well.
Yeah, the presenter's standing in the game, and that was a cool visual element of the presentation. So overall, taking my personal taste aside, I think there was a lot here for people to hopefully take a few things from. Like, there's such a variety of mobile free-to-play, and then the one big single-player thing that got me, which was the Assassin's Creed stuff. So I think that most people would get something out of this, if not multiple things. So maybe C+. Maybe it's fine in that sense.
I'd say it's fine, maybe, depending on the mood I'm in at the time. If it's not fine, it's definitely on the wrong side of fine for me, where it's a bit of a fail. Like, it was about an hour and 20, and it certainly felt like it was at times 2 hours and 20. Like, it went long, and I'm with you. Like, some of the non-native English-speaking presenters made it a little tough, and it sort of took away from some of the hype. And I'm not disrespecting the work they do on the game. It's just, without a subtitle, especially with Skull and Bones, where I'm on the fence for that game already, and when I can't really hear these key talking points that I'm meant to get excited about, it sort of made me wane even more. The hosts, like Yusuf, and I can't remember the lady's name that was co-hosting with Yusuf, like...
Brutal.
It was cringy as hell, and...
Especially her.
Yeah, because she was locked on the teleprompter. Like, they had camera angles from every which way, but you could always tell that she was just locked in on that teleprompter regardless. So she was just, she did her best, and maybe that was her first time in front of a camera for such a big event like this, and that'd be very stressful. But overall, the conference or the Ubisoft Forward event was lacking for me. There was a couple of big moments like that we touched on. I really like the idea of Codename Red and Codename Hexy about what it could be. Mirage looked interesting. I'm looking forward to circling back to Valhalla, as you mentioned, as well as, one of the best announcements wasn't game related, or was game related in a way with Mythic Quest, but it's about a television show and not about a game, which is about games. Oh, I don't know.
That uses
I'm stuck in a
assets.
web here, JP. Help me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, watch Mythic Quest.
Really watch Mythic Quest. But I'd say this is a fine at best, depending on where you sit on the ledger with some of these announcements. Like, if you're a mobile gamer, this was probably one of the best Ubisoft events in years.
Yeah.
But I'm not, apart from playing a shitty old WWE Supercard game and hopefully a very exciting Marvel Snap after this. Yeah. I'm not a mobile gamer, so a lot of this was lost on me.
It's a fine, but when they say fine, you're sitting there wondering, are they actually fine, or are they? Does that mean that they're not okay? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it's like the dog sitting in the burning kitchen scenario. Everything is fine. Everything's burning around. Yeah.
Or, that angry girlfriend that says everything's, it's fine.
Oh.
I'm fine. I'm fine. And it's like, you're not though, are you? So that's this conference. Like, it was fine. Yeah.
I've been caught in that trap a few times over the years. It's never that case. But if you don't want to wait for some of these longer lead times and announcements for these games to actually come to fruition, don't worry, we've got you covered.
New releases and events.
As far as new content dropping this coming week, as we mentioned at the start of the show, the Immortality spoiler cast will be dropping this week with myself, Jono, and Wilco. I've also got a comedy rewind making its way to the RSS feeds this week, and you're tackling Evolution. Fantastic comedy about science fiction and aliens with David Duchovny. And I can't remember the rest of the cast, but I love that movie.
Sean William Scott, Orlando Jones. Jesse Munro from Story Mode Gaming was kind enough to jump on there with me, so that will be dropping Wednesday morning.
It's so good. It's so funny.
It is.
And I'm very curious to listen to that one and see if it still stacks up. As far as new things coming to the small screen, The Handmaid's Tale Season 5 and Atlanta Season 4 making their way to SBS On Demand or wherever you get both of those shows this week.
This is, I gotta say, we've had 2 seasons of Atlanta in 1 year. That is surprising. I don't remember that happening before with this type of series.
Yeah, it's interesting for me. I'm guessing that they're just trying to get it out and wrap it up quick. I don't know.
I'd like to know the story behind that because, yes, season 3 was April. It was like 5 months ago.
That's nuts.
It's great.
You know what? Donald Glover does what Donald Glover wants.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But get the tissues ready and the phone ready beside yourself when you're watching The Handmaid's Tale, because you'll either be crying or needing to call someone for comfort, no doubt, because that show be hitting hard. Things on the big screen: Bodies, 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 Paws of Fury, and League of Super Pets, all making its way to cinemas this week. As far as games coming out this week, we've got Little Orpheus, Scourge Bringer, 13, You Suck at Parking, which actually looks like a ton of fun, Bear and Breakfast officially making its way to the Switch, Metal Hellsinger, which I cannot wait to play on Xbox Game Pass, Outer Wilds making its way to current gen, Splitgate, Wayward Strand, and Return to Monkey Island, which is making its way to Switch and PC, not Xbox or PlayStation 5.
There you go. And just a little Easter egg here. That game 13 that's releasing on September 13, it came up on our Evolution Comedy Rewind podcast for some reason, and neither Jesse or I had ever heard of it.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay. I'm very curious about that. And if you're looking for more showcases, we've also got the latest ID at Xbox Autumn Showcase airing this week as well. It's going to run for approximately 90 minutes, and that is going to be taking place on September 14/15, depending on where you are in the world. So a lot of indie highlights coming your way this week. So plenty of content there to keep you busy as you get excited and nervous as you anticipate the impending arrival of THG 300. Miss Ali Hart and I have got some very fun things planned for that. Will it come out in the usual week release from here? Maybe, maybe not. Just depends on if we've bitten off more than we can chew, but it'll be out sometime in the next fortnight. So just a little disclaimer there. It might not be out this coming Monday, but it'll be, at the very least, it'll be out the following, just because we've got some fun things we're baking in the oven for THG 300.
Sounds good. Can't wait. As a listener, very keen to hear what you guys have after. Just seems like yesterday, episode 200. So,
It's
and
nuts.
even episode 100, I remember recording something for that. So, wow.
It's absurd, JP. And we're very excited to sort of have some fun with this 300th episode. And very touched for people like yourself and everyone else that listens to us on the regular for tuning in after all these years and all these ups and downs and rounds that we have going here at THG. But very keen to release that episode very soon. But just might take a little while than the usual weekly turnaround. But
Worth
JP,
worth the wait.
that brings us to the end of episode 299. Thank you for coming in and admirably jumping into that co-host chair and even probably lead hosting some of those parts, because my words were a mess at times today. But we got there. We unpacked 2 big events this week. We talked about some games and some other cool things we got going on, and it was a good old time.
We talked about needles. We talked about cakes. Everything.
What more do you need, listeners? What more do you need? But JP, anything else you wanted to shout out or mention that you got coming up in this week or the weeks ahead? The floor is yours to reference and plug as many or as little things as you'd like.
I mean, we could be here all day. So I'll just say Comedy Rewind, as mentioned already, and come and say g'day at PAX, because it's coming up in less than a month now, which is pretty exciting, and it's going to be a great chance to get the crew back together again after a few years, and what remains of us as far as people who are able to make it over to Melbourne. So yeah, the gaming community, the 8-bit nation will rise once again, and we're going to have a great time. So can't wait for that.
I'm very excited for PAX. Yeah, we've got some cool things planned in parallel with Audio Technica, and looking forward to getting together with everybody again after all these years out in the digital wilderness. Nice physical big time event for the gaming and culture community is going to be a heck of a time in early October. And hope to see you all there and share a beer or a gin and tonic or a bite or a gaming anecdote wherever we cross paths over that Melbourne weekend. All right, AP Nation, this has been our longest episode of THG for quite some time, because clearly we love to waffle on here. But yeah, thanks to everybody for always stopping on by. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, us as well as all the other podcasts listen to on the regular, because those ratings and reviews help keep the emotional lights on in our hearts. You can find us as a collective at We Are 8-Bit. You can find me at Brendan 8-Bit, and obviously you can find Jono at Jono himself. But until next time, 8-Bit Nation, much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.